Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soulful Eclectic. I am your host, Diana Collins, and I want to welcome you to today's episode of the Soulful Eclectic. And I want to thank you guys for the newbies who joined in. Thank you for joining me. I thoroughly appreciate you. And for those who've been returning, thank you so much for taking the time out to come back and listen and hear what we got to say here on the Soulful Eclectic. I thoroughly appreciate you all too. And thank you to our WUBI Ubiquity TV and radio listeners. Y'all the bomb. Keep going, keep sharing. I love you all. I appreciate the time that you guys all take to just to be present. And you know what? And again, thank you to all of you who are following me on my webpage, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, who's joined the group. However, you're getting the Soulful Eclectic. I just want to thank you and just let you know I truly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And I know we're just going to get better and better and better as we grow because, things change. I just keep going and I just keep going. And I'm going to thank you. And again, I know I'm thanking you guys a lot, but I really appreciate you all. I really do. This has been such a transition from where I started on just being on the YouTube channel and just being on the streaming networks, but now I'm streaming out into TV land, which is a new thing for the podcast. Not for me, since I'm doing film and television acting and commercials as well. That's being on TV is not the new part, but putting the podcast on TV is the new part. And if you guys have not downloaded the app for WBI Ubiquity TV on Roku, please do so. I thoroughly appreciate you if you did. So now thank you to my sponsors. Wait, before I get to that, I want to say thank you guys for watching the videos and, streaming in for the lives and engaging with the guests that we've had. And I know some of our style content has been repeating, and it's only because I want to give my guests their love and their respect that's due to them, because I appreciate them, I appreciate their time, and I appreciate them just being present when we've had our conversations. So yes, my guest conversations do get some special play in there, and every now and again you get to see me again, but that's okay. I don't mind. But thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I would love to say thank you to our WUBI family first and foremost. And if you have not downloaded the WUBI app, I encourage you to do so. You have it on not only in the Apple Store, but you also have it in the Google Play as well. And you can also go to the TV. You can watch us live on demand. We have a ton of upcoming events and new movies coming in. And then also, we have our scheduled days of activity. So Friday tonight, 6 to 8, we have the Soulful Eclectic. That's us, guys. And then you have your weekly stuff that we'll go through, and there's always something going on. And if you know anyone who wants to participate, has a film that they want to show, or any webinars, pay-per-view, let us know. Reach out to us, and you can definitely contact us here on the app or the website. This is actually the website, not the app. So I thank you for that, and thank you for the WBI family for having me be a part of the family. I thoroughly appreciate you. And there's so much more. So I also want to thank me, and my company, Divine Nubian Essentials, for being a part of the Soulful Eclectic family. As you can see here, you just love the skin you in. It's all natural, 100% from the earth. Mother Earth made it. That's what we got. Hair and skincare products. You can definitely go through, see the reviews. A lot of people have purchased. You can go through Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. I have a TikTok, guys. Don't watch out now. I got a TikTok. But I do sell products all online. And once in a while, you can catch me in a pop-up shop. And it's for all skin types. If you have skin, you're in. That's what the motto is. So thank you so much to the Divine Nubian Essentials for being a part of the Soulful Eclectic. And so we also have our education, because we're all about education here on the Soulful Eclectic. So I love to give thanks to Collins Education Resource Management as well. So we have a lot of individuals who are in healthcare who are trying to maintain their grade. I mean, I don't know if any of you know anyone who is a nurse or in a doctor or in some sort of healthcare field, but it's challenging. And it's also challenging for those of us who are in the Black and Brown community, those of us who are English as a second language, those of us who are just struggling to just understand what it is that is asked of us during the process of learning a new career, new profession. So Collins Education reaches out and helps you understand, get a better grasp on what it is that you are learning. We have tutoring services, we have online coaching that we do via Zoom, and we also can come to you and meet you in different places. We also do speaking engagements and also workshops as well. And you can find us on the website, collinserm.com, or you can reach us at the Facebook, Instagram, and it has a TikTok as well. And if those of you who do know me and know me so well know that I try to be as diligent as possible in maintaining all of my social media. And as you all know, I am an entity of one who is maintaining all of these avenues. So I do appreciate everyone who takes the time out to follow and engage and also share the material. It doesn't cost anyone anything to share. And I do appreciate all who have shared the materials for Collins Education Resource Management, as well as Divine Nubian Essentials. And for those of you who question whether or not Divine Nubian Essentials work, my skin, my hair is all Divine Nubian Essentials. Use nothing else but that. But, okay, so we got the logistics out the way. Put it out. All right, so thank you guys again for that. I appreciate you being patient with that. But so today's episode, wow. Today's episode is really one of those episodes where I just really want to check in with everyone, because we all have been doing our busyness. Life has been lifing for everybody. And I want to say no one is exempt from that. And it's just a challenge every day to maintain our sense of self. It's a challenge every day to maintain relationships, both friendships and your husband-wife relationships. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. And these past few months has been one of those things that, you know, I just really wanted to really check in with everyone and see where you are. All right, I can definitely start off with telling you and showing you where I am, and boy oh boy, let's just say it's been interesting. It's been interesting. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you again for being here. Thank you for those who have shared with me, and I'm going to read a couple of things out that was shared with me and was asked of me. So we're going to get into a ton of things today. So I try to keep it to a minimum as best. So first and foremost, talking about relationships and maintaining that sense of togetherness is one of those constant challenges that we all are facing. And no, I don't want to say anyone is non-exempt, because maybe there's someone that's just has it together. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not one of those people that have it together. I still have to work at it day in and day out. There's nothing that I would not love better as to have a seamless, flawless life with my husband, with my children, with my engagement and my family and my friends. I would love that. I really, really would. But the reality is, that's not possible. There's always something. And that's not always a bad thing, because my always somethings are always something good. I just need to say that. They're always something good for the most part. Once in a while you get that negative in there. But to really put it in perspective, I want to say this past couple of weeks have been one of those experiences that really started to really have me be better present in everything that I'm doing. Um, I'll start off with saying that I was working a 9 to 5 for a short period. For those who know, I stopped working for a little bit to finish my dissertation and get my doctorate. So now I am a Dr. Diana Collins. So I appreciate that. So I have not been working in the secular world on that, but I have maintained, working as an actress and doing those things. So I don't like to say I haven't been working. Everything I do, I'm working. So um, that would be inaccurate for me to say this. I'm not working. I'm working, just not a 9 to 5. Uh, but yes. So I did go back to a 9 to 5 for a minute and to kind of see where it is that I wanted to do. Like I said, I finished my degree and I just like, yeah, now what am I going to do now that I'm done with that? And it was eye opening, and for anyone that is in healthcare knows that it is forever changing. And I would love to say it's for the good, but it really isn't. It really isn't. And I'm learning, even for education, it's changing, and I'm learning that it needs to look different for me. I love teaching. I love what it is that I do. I love engaging. I love healthcare. I love helping people, but it's getting harder and harder to do that. And this position that I was in, now mind you, I had 3 positions because I trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I worked at one in college. Um, and it was okay, except I felt like they were taking advantage of students, and I didn't agree with it. And they were micromanaging my time, which is never a good thing for me. Yeah, that's about gracefully for that one. And then another one, yeah, I thought it was going to be a nice fit, and unfortunately, that didn't work out for me as well. It was very toxic environment. It was a very, very toxic environment, I will say, and I'm borderline bullying. Nursing education, nursing in general, when you're working on a unit, there is still horizontal violence there. You still have nurses being mean to the younger nurses coming in. You still have the older nurses mistreating the younger nurses. You have the nurses that are of non-color, disrespecting and treating the nurses of color differently and poorly. That still remains a thing. Sadly, it still remains a thing. And again, I think we talked with this with Pastor Tanika was with us, and I said we're going to have another conversation, and that conversation is coming up because that is a whole segment on its own. But that job, that second one, was definitely a toxic environment, and from what I understand, still remains to be a toxic environment, unfortunately. The most recent one, though, was really eye-opening. And of course, I'm not going to mention any of the names of these places that I was working at. But this last one had really taken me back and really gave me a lot of perspective of who I am, where I have been, and how I have grown and where I want to go. And I appreciate the job for that, because with everything that I do that is negative impacting or even positive impacting, I find the lesson in it and what is it that is meant for me to learn and get from this experience. And I know people say, well, everything in life is not meant to be a lesson, it just is what it is. And that's true. And it's true. But again, this is me and my Pollyanna attitude. I'm going to find the good, the positive, the learning out of the experience. And when something doesn't sit well within you, your body has an innate ability to kind of tell you that something isn't right. That fight or flight feeling that you get to show you that you better think about this before you continue. That's kind of what I was getting from that facility. And it just wasn't good. I was being used as a scapegoat. And I just, if I would have stayed, I think I would have had another ulcer. And for those who been following me for I've been doing this for 3 years, going on 4 years, guys. Whoa. Um, but those have been following me for a long time now. The last college, the back in a while, just before after COVID. The college I was working with then, and I was working with them for 4 or 5 years. Um, they gave me an ulcer. Yeah, and that's how stressed I was with that. And after that, I really sat with myself and decided, I'm not going to let any job, person make me ill. And the job was making me ill. So that was one of my first lessons in that. And now I transfer that to this final lesson here. And I don't want to say final lesson because I'm going to continue to learn. As long as I'm breathing, I'm going to continue to learn. So it wasn't definitely not my final lesson, but it was a more recent lesson that I learned about me and the job and, where I want to go and things like that. So here's that. It just was not conducive for me as an educator. My voice was not being heard or understood. I'm always an advocate for my students, and what I saw them doing was not in the betterment of the student. It was not achieving the goal of being present and valuing your students. And it was put me in a position where I was the scapegoat. I was the one whose name was on everything that was negative. And I was the one who had to present this stuff. So I was like, oh, no, no, no. Red flags were being going off. I had 4th of July going off in my head. Okay, so that's when I really had to step back and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't agree with this. And then the moment you don't agree with someone, you really get to see their true colors. And I did. And again, my intuition just was on fire when I met these people. And I met them via Zoom. I didn't meet them in person because this is all online. But yeah. So it was just like that. But that started this other part in me, and reunited my fire in education and being here for the students, which is again Collins Education and Resource Management is a part of that, where I just want to be present and help engage students in healthcare, in learning. But anyways, I digress. So yes, so that's one of the things that I've been doing, and talking about relationships and building those relationships. It's like, what, now it's time to really dive into where I am and where my husband and I are in our relationship. And the devil is a lie. He is busy. Can I just say that? Y'all, the devil is busy. And I never take anything for granted. And everyone who knows me knows how much I love and care deeply for my husband, as he does me. And so I value us and our communication. And I thank God we have very good communication. It didn't always start out that way. We work at it every day. And for anyone who thinks that you don't have to work at a marriage how you work every day, that's my everyday job, trying to stay present, trying to stay focused, trying to stay engaged, trying to just be there. But the moment that you start to take one another for granted, that's when it becomes an issue. And I say that because there's some things that people just don't understand, and people have no boundaries. What the hell is wrong? Okay, if someone says they're married, then move on. Move on. Okay. Don't try to engage them into your crazy. Okay. It just doesn't work. So I say that because I have a really, really, really close friend and I love them dearly. And they were just really open and honest with me about their relationship. And I was like, I appreciate you so much. But talking to them, and I'll tell you because they allowed me to share some of their information, not their names, of course. And I would never do that to anyone. But um, they were talking about how they were approached to be in, I don't know what the hell to call it, a multiple relationship. But, yeah, I think it's polyamory and all these things. And I have nothing against anyone who is in a polyamorous relationship. I have friends who do it. I have friends who have been swingers. I have nothing against it. Once upon a time in my life, and still probably a time in my life, I wanted to be a sex educator. And part of that is understanding the different relationships culturally and anthropologically on how we evolve as humans in relationships and sexuality. So that was one of the things. So I have nothing against anyone in a polyamorous relationship. If all of the bodies are in agreement and that's what they want to do, I'm for it. It's just not for everybody. And I want to talk about that because it people feel like it's always a negative thing. And for some people, it really works. And I commend them on how well it works. It transcends the whole sister wives thing and all the things that the throuples and things you see on TV. I mean, it works for people. And kudos to those it works for. Me, I'm sorry. I'm just not, and it has nothing to do with insecurity. I'm just that person that if you're with me, you're with me. I don't need you spreading your wings and being all other kind of places. So um, that's just my 2 cents into that. But yeah, so it's just wild how people can just really open your eyes to have communication. So I did have a conversation with um, my friend about this, and I asked them how do you feel about it. And I have friends that are female and male guys, and shame on anyone who said you can't have male friends. I do have male friends, and I have female friends, and my husband does know my male friends, and he has female friends. Um, and some of them I know, some of them I don't know, but I know of them. And it's just those trust. You build that trust. And I tell my husband, the moment I feel like it's going left, we're gonna have a conversation. And that kind of, you know, had my friend looking at me like, what? I was like, yes, we know. Because I don't ever want it to be a time where he distrusts me and I distrust him, because then that shuts down communication, and it always puts that thought in your head. But anyway, so my friend and talked about their relationship and what they had going on. It was just one of those things where I had to sit with her and I said, listen, you have to talk to your husband and have a conversation, because this person has definitely set boundaries and stepped over those boundaries. And it's one of those things where you really need to see where your husband's head is in the game. And so I appreciate her sharing that she said she came back and said I talked to him, and I told him, I say, when, because her husband is similar to my husband. He's very kind, very Southern gentleman type, very Southern gentleman. And so he is the type of gentleman that will compliment women in a nice way, like, oh yeah, you look beautiful today, or that dress is nice, or hold the door open. So I think this person kind of took it a little too far and took his kindness as, oh, he wants to have a relationship with me. And so with that, it just was like, no, that's not, he was just being nice to you and being kind because his mother raised him that way, as most Southern mothers raise their sons. And other people, I'm not just going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I mean, because I'm sure there's other people who aren't Southern that raise their children, their sons with respect and things. So it's not just Southern, but it's what I'm used to and what I've experienced. But anyways, um, so they had a conversation about that, and what strikes me is that her husband said to her, and he didn't mean any disrespect, and he said, "Don't be so insecure. Are you insecure about anything?" And when she said that, I got hot under the collar for her. I was like, "What? How dare you? How did?" And I was ready to go in, but um, she stopped and she said, "It is not about insecurity. It's about the principle of respecting one's boundaries in a relationship. And if this person knows that we are married and has known we are married and, you know, continues to pursue you, then there's a problem. And you need to see that. And I need you to see that." So he went back and he like replayed conversations he had in his head and how he responded. And then he came back to her and apologized. How big of a man is that? And I appreciate that for them, for him, because he recognized that she was right. And not that he was wrong, but he apologized for not understanding. He's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't see it from that perspective." And I thought about it and I replayed conversations. And he's like, "You're right. You're absolutely right." And I see that I cannot be friends with this person, and it will pose an issue, not with our relationship because they're like she said, we're good. I just needed him to see that this is what it was and what it was going to turn into should he continue to engage in a conversation. So I say that kudos to them. So honestly, how would you handle that conversation? And I challenge you to think about that, how you would handle such conversation. Because I know for me, I thought about it from in my perspective. I was like, how would I go about talking to my husband about that? Hmm? And to be honest, I think I would be cool and calm about it. Because I'm not that rebel rouser. I hate negative engagement. And it just like, so even though in my head, I probably be rah rah in my head and fighting and duking it out, honestly, I probably would take a step back and really think about it and engage strategically. Maybe that's just, my life experience, my military experience, whatever. But before we take a quick little break, how about you think about that? How would you engage in that conversation? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. And then I'll let that ponder in your head a little bit because I think that that's deep. That's really deep, because she took a road and it could have been really, really hectic for them. Like, I mean, all out brawl. You did this, you did that, the whole pointing fingers kind of thing. And um, she did some really serious marriage boot camp shit there and was like, stepped back and said, okay, I see it from his perspective. So how can I help him see it from my perspective? That way he has both perspectives and he can make an informed decision on whether or not he's going to continue having conversations with this person. Because again, it was purely on a friendly, platonic thing for them. And the other person just kind of took it away and took it in another direction. So Yeah, think about it. How would you handle that? Would you, if it was you, if it was your spouse, however it played out? I challenge you to have a conversation with one another and see how that goes. Um, yeah. So with that, think about it. Think about it, and then we'll be right back. Okay, guys. So we're back, and I just needed to take a minute for a second there and try to get something to drink because I'll tell you, my voice just suffers terrible when I do any lecturing, long talking for long periods of time, doing a podcast. So definitely need to take a little bit of a short little break there. And I have to do better with that. I really do. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, people. Work in progress. So yes, and so yeah, think about you thought about that. I hoped that you know what I would say write it down and definitely have a conversation. It's worth having a talk about it. How one of the thing is one, how do you feel about polyamory? I think that's a conversation that we should all have with our spouses and significant other. How you feel because we're growing, we're evolving, and if you look at the way of the world and the evolution of where we're going, let's be real. We have to do our due diligence and at least have a conversation and be an adult about it. I mean, what is it? It's sex, sexuality. It's who we are. It's who we're evolving to. Have the conversation. I was telling a friend of mine that I really wanted to be the next Dr. Ruth in my life. I know people like who the hell is Dr. Ruth, and those of you who are Gen Xers know who Dr. Ruth is, and those of you who are millennials are in Gen Z, you probably don't. But Dr. Ruth Westheimer was like the epitome of sexual education on like TV in the 80s and probably early 90s, I believe. And she probably started earlier than the 80s, but the 80s is when I was able to watch a lot of the TV that I wasn't supposed to be watching. So let's be real with it. Life. Um, but yes, because so, talking openly, honestly about sex and sexuality does not bother me one bit. So much as I had someone write into me. I think it was what do I call it? DM. They DM me. I feel like I'm so popular now. They DM me. But anyway, so yeah, in my DM, they dropped it in my DMs. No, I'm just playing. I don't know anything about that. But anyways, um, and in the DMs, they asked the question, and I thought it was very nice. I was like, um, it was just so. I was honored. Okay, let me just say that I was honored to even. I'm looking for it so I can read it verbatim. I was really just really honored that they thought enough of me to ask this question and that they felt comfortable enough to ask this question. I can definitely answer that for you. So let me I'm gonna pull it up on my I think it was Instagram. Yeah, it was Instagram. I'm looking. Okay, Instagram. Yes, here it is. Okay. So I thought it was the cutest thing. So it's someone um, in online worlds who caught one of my earlier episodes where I was talking about sex education, penile health, vaginal health, all these things. And I will get back into to doing more of that as well as I gather my life. But this person has just recently just started dating a female, so a female dating a female, and this is the person's first female experience that they're interested in. I guess they're more masculine presenting. With studs, getting that terminology. I know I'm terrible. I don't want to say I'm terrible. It's just that my mental space has been full with so many things that sometimes terms escape me. So yes. So she refers to her new partner as a stud, and her stud. Um, as I don't know if anyone knows about the LGBTQ community. Of course, I've done my paper and I've done a lot of studies within the LGBT community. But for those of you out there who are really not familiar, most lesbian studs, um, do they even use the term dyke butch? Is that a derogatory term now? I'm seriously asking because for some queer is a derogatory term. So the older gay population don't like to use queer, whereas the younger generation has adopted on queer. So I didn't know how that terminology played in the butch and dyke kind of thing, because back in the day that was a bit derogatory. Call somebody a dyke, that was fighting words. Call somebody so um if anyone wants to like chime in to kind of refresh my memory on what's politically correct, I'm okay with that. And I might just phone a friend to ask as well to see if it's still politically incorrect to use certain terminologies because like I said, I'm always learning. And I never stop learning, and I always engage in healthy conversation with those who want to just to share their knowledge. So definitely, if there's anyone out there in the world who would like to add that information and share that information, send me a message. You can DM me or send me an email, however it is that you want to communicate. But I am happy to listen, open, and to learn new things and relearn because for some reason, like I said, it's escaped me. I've had to remove some information to add new information. Okay, it's just the nature of who we are as humans. But um, as I was where the point I was going to is that some individuals who identify as studs do not appreciate penetration at all. They probably have never been with a man, or if they had, they really didn't like it and no longer engage in vaginal penetration. So therefore, they will be the ones delivering the said penetration. So I was like, okay. So I said that to explain what I'm about to say. So she wants no actual penetration to her, but she agreed that she would use a strap. So when they say strap, that's a dildo apparatus that you purchase from any sexual um, store, um, boutique. You can buy it online. Where else can you buy them? Boutiques and online. I guess that's what it is, right? Um, and So yes, so she will use that with clitoral stimulation. So how do I search for that type of strap or harness? Because whenever I have tried to search it myself, it keeps coming up with penetration for her, which is what she doesn't want. So I was like, oh no, this is my very first adult sexual question. And I was like, thank you. So I thought I'd share that with everyone because Why the hell not? Um, this is what we do. So why the hell not? And it's in the evening, and if your children are up watching this right now, I'm gonna just say maybe now is the time to switch the channel to something else. Um, so we had that conversation via DMs. So I had to do the whole hand thing, right? um, DMs, but and as I was just saying, I appreciate that person for their strawberry letter of information. And if you guys remember what they used to call them back then, they call them strawberry letters. I like, oh, so that is the Soulful Eclectic's first strawberry letter is what I'm going to call them. So if anyone wants to send strawberry letters, you are more than happy to. I will answer them. And also, please, if you do send me a strawberry letter, please share whether or not you are okay with me sharing the details. I never share names of the person who sends the information. I just share the content and what we talk about. So with this strawberry letter, I did tell them, as I just pointed out to you guys, or um, when it comes to sexual activities, definitely want to have that conversation with your partner. As we were talking about polygamy beforehand and polyamory and, you know, those conversations. The other conversation you should also have with your partner, whether it's the same sex partner or um, mixed sex partner, heterosexual relationship, is definitely a conversation to have on where you want your sexual activity to go as you grow in life, because it's going to change. We talked earlier, and we will definitely talk again about menopause. Women go through menopause, but men also go through menopause. And when you go through menopause, your body changes. So, one of the conversations that you have about that is sexual encounters with one another. And you really have to have an open conversation about that. So, with this person who sent me the DM, I said to them, I said, first of all, really engage in a conversation of what it is that you want from one another sexually. And so she, said that she doesn't want penetration, but she does. So if a partner doesn't want penetration, but she doesn't mind penetration, it's like, okay, that's a good start. Now you have to find the proper apparatus that you need, which is what she was asking. And so I've had a very good friend of mine who is into kink. He was on here, Sean, and I'm trying to get him to come back on them. I think that's their pronouns. I'm sorry, Sean, if I messed that up. But I want them to come back on the show to talk about um, the world of kink in leather, because we did have a conversation about that. I'm going to say it was in season two. And unfortunately, there was a disruption in the other half of his recording, so I have to find that somewhere. And my computer is now on my older computer's on the fritz, and I'm afraid it might be lost. So please bear with me as I try to regain that footage. But we had a conversation on kink and leather and boots. Those kind of thing. He makes leather whips and things like that. So I said to her, you can definitely go to his website, their website, and have that and see what they have to promote. But in the meantime, as I said, you have online shops, you have your different venues and boutiques that are in your local cities, and sometimes you have to leave your city to go to find these places. And unfortunately, they're in the areas that are not pleasant to go to. And so I would say if you've never ventured there during the day, because nighttime could be a little sketchy. But for those of you who grew up in New York, if you remember 42nd Street, where we were not to be found on 42nd Street. This is before who cleaned it up? Was it Cuomo? I forgot which mayor cleaned it. Was it one of those mayors cleaned it up, and now 42nd Street is a whole different 42nd Street. But it used to be where the nightlife was and where a lot of the sexual activity and things were prevalent. If if you know about it, then definitely. If you're not, I would say Google it and become and familiarize yourself with what 42nd Street in Manhattan used to look like in the 80s and early 90s before they transformed it into what it is today. Um, and that's not negative or anything like that. It's just the nature of where things go and how we grow in life. But yes, so I told her to check out that, check out your online shops. But I said to her, go into the shop for some of them because they have so many different types of material. So you want to make sure you get a material that is comfortable for you, like silicone, latex, or whatever. I tell anyone um, to stay away from latex. As a healthcare professional, many people have latex allergies, and you would hate to introduce any latex to your genital area because that reaction can be quite painful and irritating, almost like getting poison ivy or poison oak in your penis and vaginal area. So definitely be mindful of allergies with when you get and use products, and that includes lubricants because we talked about individuals going through menopause, and with menopause for women, you have a level of vaginal dryness. So with vaginal dryness, you will need a water-based lubricant, and I always tell people to use water-based lubricant. When you use all these other lubricants with chemicals and scents and things, you run into the risk of developing a urinary tract infection. And the worst thing to do is to introduce that. And again, I just quickly for anatomy 101, women are more prevalent to get urinary tract infection during sexual intercourse. So, what we teach individuals is that when after you've had sexual intercourse, before you go to sleep at night, go pee. Go pee. Your urine is sterile when it comes out because your bladder is sterile, and it's going to clean out your urethra, your urinary canal, and it's going to decrease the chances of those of any bacteria creeping up into your bladder, causing a urinary tract infection. So there's my medical info, and this is jargon for the moment. So definitely be mindful of that, and to just take heed and just pay attention to your body and what's happening and things of that. So with that, I'm going to take a little quick break and leave you with that. And we'll talk more. We'll definitely talk more. Hey everybody, thank you so much for your patience. My quick little 2-second break. Where am I? Here I am. My 2-second break. Yeah, so my husband just came in, so I had to kind of just tell him, keep it here just a little bit while I finish, talking to my peeps in a minute. So menopause, women menopause, urinary tract infection, pee after intercourse, clear the urethra out. Um, yeah, back in the day, and we still do sometimes when you work urgent care, we get a lot of honeymoon cystitis, which is definitely not fun. Honeymoon cystitis, which is urinary tract, is a cute little way to say urinary tract that individuals had so much fun during their honeymoon that they ended up with a urinary tract infection. So that is honeymoon cystitis is our little nickname for someone who comes in with urinary tract infection. Uh, where was I going with that thought? Oh, yes. So menopause, right? So then men also go through menopause, but theirs is seen more with their decrease in their testosterone. So they may need a testosterone booster. So that helps with that. And we talked about that a little bit more too when you go back and look at penile health. And I think I did a whole segment on men have menopause too. I don't know why people think men have menopause. It's not just called cute little midlife crisis. It's all menopause. Okay. Once you hit a certain level, those hormones start to decrease. Houston, there we go. Okay, there we go. Uh, anyway, um, so yeah, so that was my first stray letter DM that I received, and I appreciate the person who wrote it. So I'm going to say thank you for that, and I hope um, that was helpful. I didn't get a follow up on whether or not it was a go or no go. I don't know, so that's okay if I don't know. Again, I was just appreciative that we were able to have the conversation, and um, I did get back a note that said, "Thank you. That's helpful place to start." So for anyone out there in audio land or even TV land who think that that might be an issue, definitely, I hope that helps. Um, and honestly, the individuals in those shops are very knowledgeable. They may look young and whatever, but they're very knowledgeable about the products that they sell there. So definitely ask the question. And for anyone who is doing anything with lubricants, I would just say make sure they're water soluble um, lubricants for your body. So yeah. So there's that. Well, I was like, yay, my first strawberry letter. Um, with that, also, you know, we talk about communication and really talk about building relationships with your spouse and significant other, and talk about that whole where are we now, where do we want to go conversation. It's just really important to really sit with one another and to really engage in that loving conversation. So I really want to share something with you guys because, as I said, I'm constantly figuring out me. Uh, how, where am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? All those what, where, whys, and hows. So today I came across um, a mantra. Yeah, it's a mantra. And for my friends and family who are close to me, I share morning mantras with a lot of them, whether it's I am, I whatever. It's just something that resonated with me that morning because every morning I read them because you know what, I need to pick up. I need something. We can't be this peppy all the time and just be natural. But there was some. This one really hit because I was thinking today. You know, where am I going again? What am I doing? I've had this job. I finished my degree. I have the podcast. I have the skincare line. I have this. Where is it going? What am I going to do? So this mantra is from the Love Change, right? That's a website or a Instagram. Instagram is where I found it. But it's a morning mantra, and it says, "I am in the prime of my life." And I was like, "Say less. I am in the prime of my life, right?" I actively engage with every opportunity. And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I actually do. Every opportunity, whether it be, again, positive or negative, because your negative does have a place, that whole yin and yang. So I do actively engage with every opportunity. And I honor the divine rhythm of events in my life. And all the events in our life don't always make sense. When I think about my life and where I have been, where I'm going, a lot of it is like, "Mm, that didn't make sense, but it happened." Um, so I honor the divine rhythm of events in my life. All that happens is designed to elevate me. And that hit me. I was like, wow, it is. Because everything that has been is uh, has done nothing but send me higher. Even though sometimes you have to take a step back to move forward. And I know people say you never want to go backwards. Well, sometimes you have to take a step back because if not, you're going to fall into that hole. So it's best to take a step back and reevaluate what's happening, where you're going, where you're going to take that next step. It's not, the negative annotation that is placed on it is only due to your thinking. So for me, I see it as me having to take a step back in that space is thinking of that chapters, that chapters verse that I shared in the past, where you walk down the street and you fall into a hole. You struggle to get out, you get out, and you walk down that same street, you fall down the same hole. Yeah, how many times you gonna fall down a hole, right? So for me, it's like a step back. It's not anything negative. It's taking a step. Let me step back and let me see the lay of the land, kind of thing. So with that, I say all of those things to say that um, it was to elevate me because every step back that I had to take, it sent me to make the correct step forward, which sent me a step higher. There we go. Um, I fearlessly chase after new prospects. And I want to say that for those of us who err on the side of caution all the time. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think about how you're letting fear navigate your direction, and a lot of us have done that, right? Let fear stop us from doing things that we want to do, can do, and try to do. So that's one of the things I'd share with you guys. It's just like I'm often going to let fear navigate us, right? So I fearlessly chase things. Now, once upon a time, that wasn't true. Once upon a time, I held back. Like it took me so long to go to nursing school because I was scared of failure. And I said, you know what? There's always going to be some level of failure, right, in something. But if you don't fail at something, how are you going to succeed? Because you 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 have to fail to know this is where you want or don't want to move to where you want to do. So I say that to say we have to stop letting fear either in the driver's seat. Fear can come with you, but it needs to lie shotgun in the passenger seat or even in the back. I don't care, but it's not going to be in the driver's seat. And then I am aware of and harness my true strength. Now, for a long time, many of us were not aware of our strength, but now we are very aware and capable, and we know that we are enough. We know that we are amazing. We know we are the I am. So, with that, knowing your strength, knowing your true strength, opens up all kinds of doors that are you never knew were possible and are possible and remain possible. And it says in the last verse is, I am forged for grand undertakings. Damn right. So I share that with you. You are forged for some big undertakings. So what are you going to undertake? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? I'm curious. Where is this going to go for you? And I want you to really think about that. So I'm going to say all these pieces without me stopping and having conversation. Okay. So Morning mantra. I am in the prime of my life. I actively engage with every opportunity. I honor the divine rhythm of events in my life. All that happens is designed to elevate me. I fearlessly chase after new prospects. I am aware of and harness my true strength. I am forged for grand undertakings. Ashe, ashe, that it shall be, and you claim it. Um, so I share that with you this evening. Okay. Think about where you are, where you want to go, where you've been, how you've gotten there, and write it down. What is your your testimony today? And you can share it. You can keep it to yourself. You can write it in your journal. But what is your your testimony to where you are to this day, this evening, as we are having this conversation? What is your your testimony? I'm just saying. Think about it. I think about mine quite often because every stage of your life it gives you a new testimony because you've been tested quite a few times in that journey. I mean, here I am embarking on half a century. Yes, half a century. I am entering the era of being a grandparent. Never expected that a day in my life. Do I look like somebody, grandma? Damn, yes, I do. Look you, grandma. Um, has so I'm embarking on that. So that's a change. I'm embarking on um, just so many things that are changes and growth, and it's just great things. But it's all a test to your testimony of who you are, where you're going, where you've been, and how you're navigating that. Communication. Communication is key. Communication with your spouse, with your friends, okay. And let me just say this: I am not a believer in telling your friends everything. Okay, don't tell everybody all your business. That's not necessary. That's not how you move forward. Everybody doesn't have to know everything about you. Um, that's first and foremost. Um, I think I talked about that when we talked about friendships. Um, I think so. And I'm sorry to say all the time. My brain is just like firing on all synapses at all times. And I just got a lot that I want to say, but I know y'all don't want to listen to me this whole for 2 hours talking about this stuff. But anyways, I digress. So what was that thought process? Growth, testimony, where you are, how you got there, where you're going. I'm embarking on half a century and I am reevaluating my life and where I am, where I'm going. And I ask you to say, where are you going? Where have you been? What do you want to see yourself doing? Okay. And how do you intend to make that happen? What do you need to do? Who do you need to talk to? All these things, write it down. I'm a firm believer. I gotta have notebooks all over the place to write stuff down. I just write it down and then really engage in that communication and conversation with your significant other because you're both changing. You want to check in to see where they are in their growth and what they want to do, where they expect to be going, where they see themselves going, where they see them going as an individual, where they see you guys going as a couple. Um, and then really taking charge of making it happen, making it happen. And again, it starts with having a conversation. It really does. So with that, I'm going to just bow out gracefully from here. And then, we'll check in again and see where we go. So with that, I say take care of yourselves and each other. If you haven't tried the Wine Nubian Essentials, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Love the skin you're in. And if you have skin, then hell, you're in. And then if you have anyone who is in need of any educational assistance, Collins Education Resource Management will be more than happy to help out. to reach out to Collins ERM and let's see what you can get down. Even if you need somebody to come talk about some health and wealth and wellness, mental health, menopause. Menopause is the thing now. All of our Gen X's are going into menopause or in menopause. So we would love to have that conversation and we will continue to have that conversation, both men and women. Because I don't know why y'all always think that menopause just is only for women. It's for y'all too. I'm just saying, y'all too. All right. So yeah. So with that, I say take care of yourselves and each other. If you have not joined WUBI Ubiquity Radio and TV, please download the app on your Roku TV and on your Apple or Google playlist. And you can find us on Soulful Eclectic on all your podcast streaming networks, and that includes Google Play and Spotify and Pandora. I am busy. So continue to take care of yourselves and each other. Namaste, people. Ah.